shall be officially going live to this week's Thursday Cosmic Conversations, where I am Stacy Harder, and along with my mother, Dr. Heather Harder. It's mostly her. I'm just kind of the tech assistant slash putting my 2 cents here and there. And this is our weekly gathering of Cosmic Conversations, where literally it is a place for you to come together if you have any questions of what's going on, but also to create a space of coming together, because when we come together, there's magic in the air. So I'm going to just go ahead and give it on to my mom as she welcomes you.
Thank you, Stacy Elizabeth. I appreciate all your tech services and all your backup and cheerleading and enthusiasm that you add to everything you do. For those that may be listening to us on one of the other social media platforms, we are on Zoom. And Stacy, do you have the Zoom number?
I do. Zoom is 428-733-218 is the Zoom, and it is the same Zoom.
Okay, you joggled that around, so put it up there and hold it still.
They can rewind and pause.
Not yet. It's not there yet. I'll tell you when it's there. There. Hold it.
Pause it. Take a screenshot. Woo! Wherever you are. And if you are on Instagram, you see it's on my screen that you look at the whole time. So
thank you. And we're on Zoom every Thursday night, 6 p.m. Central Time, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, and you can join us anytime. This is Easter weekend, so we're hoping you have a lovely, lovely Easter weekend. And I know that we're having the first nice weather of the season, so a lot of people may be out playing, which is one of the best ways to raise your vibration, is just to get out and play. We also have a gathering every Sunday night where we talk about politics and spirituality. And even Easter Sunday, we will do it at 6 p.m. for those who might want to join us and send special love out to the earth on this time of new beginnings, this time of resurrection, this time we celebrate that we're able to always recreate ourselves and our experiences. We have 3 major agenda items. The first agenda item is just remembering to call forth protection, guidance, and truth. Remember, you get what you ask for if you're open to receive and trust that. And so because we are getting so much misinformation, so many distractions, so many things that are keeping us out of the light on our path of truth, it's really important that every day that you remember to ask for it, or whenever you're being exposed to new information. I can tell you my intention is to always come from truth, but I'm human. I can be fooled as well as anybody else. So it's really important that you always ask to know truth. And then I would also say have the courage to act on your truth, and then to call forth protection, which keeps you from getting distracted, and then guidance, which then just activates your own divine GPS system so that you get where you want to go. And with that said, you got to determine where you want to go. Nobody's going to create your life for you. You have to co-create it, which means you have to set the goals. You have to set your determination. You have to decide where you want to go. And then the universe literally rearranges itself so it can support you on your journey. But if you haven't decided where you want to go in your life, you'll get there, whatever that means. So protection, guidance, truth, very important. And every day is a new day by design. And so until it gets so ingrained into your consciousness that it can't be altered, it is a good idea to start every day with that. Brush your teeth, do your morning orange juice, and then protection, guidance, and truth. That's agenda item 1. Agenda item 2 is to play in the light. And so we do that on this call by just doing some guided visualization, some intention, some work, and going into center and playing in that light, using that light, sharing that light. Our divine essence is light. Light is the language of the universe. It is the fabric of the universe. We are light. God is light. Everyone, light, love, God, same vibration. And we play in that energy and we use it. And I've been, over the 30 years that I've been playing in this very special arena, I've been given some specific exercises to do. So we do those and then add a few other twists and turns based on what I'm guided to do. So with that, and these calls are recorded. They're in Stacy's YouTube channel, Stacy Harder, Harder. And so if you go to the YouTube channel and look out Stacy, you can go back and listen to these whenever you want. All of our weekly chats are recorded there. And of course, she would be honored if you click like and subscribe. We're doing a running count of her subscriptions, but you can listen to it whenever you want. And it's also on her Instagram, so that you can go back and get a charge, play in the light whenever you want, and use it however you're guided. The goal of these practices, these experiences, is to know what being in center, being in divine connection feels like, and then being free to use this light at all times in your life. The more you use it, the more you incorporate it into your world. The more you incorporate it into your world, the more it shines on the entire world. And as light workers, that's why we're here. We're here to change the vibration of the planet, and we do that through our play in the light. Some people talk about working with the light, and I occasionally use that term, although it sounds much more serious. It's really a lighthearted energy you need to bring to this experience. So playing in the light is a lot more fun. Like when you were a child and you played in the garden sprinklers and you ran in and out of the water and go, ah, ha, ha, ha. That's sort of the way you need to recognize and relate to the light. We're to be lighthearted and be in our state of joy and childlike harmony with all that is. So with that, if you will just, and eyes are not magical. You can open eyed or close eyed. It doesn't make any difference. Just relax your body so the light will flow through your body, and then do whatever you're guided to do. I will give instructions and you're welcome to follow along, but don't resist if you're being guided to do something else. We're all on a different path. We're all going to serve in different capacities. So trust your own inner guidance. That's the most important thing that you can do. So go to center, and that's an imaginary place that can look like anything you want. I'm really fond of beaches, so my center looks like a beach. You can have yours look like anything you want, or it can look like nothing. That's okay too. I find that by having an imaginary vision with it, it helps focus the energy, but it's certainly not necessary. So go to center, and in that center, imagine a huge pillar of light. And then just step into this pillar and feel this vibration as it goes through you to you. This pillar goes up into the heavens, connecting with all of the divine energies, all the divine beings who are here to support you in this planet. And then it goes deep into the heart of the earth. You are here to anchor this heavenly energy into this earth plane. You are here to anchor heaven to earth. And our job is just to love it. So if you will, just send that love down from the heavens to you and through you, and feel how your body feels as it absorbs this magnificent energy. And then just imagine that you have the power to amplify it, and feel this energy get stronger, more powerful. And then we send it intentionally into the earth, filling every cell of every aspect of this planet, in, on, and around this earth. Let it be filled with light. And we ask all our heavenly helpers to assist us and empower our light still. We ask all those who are on this planet, even though they may not be on the call, who are of like mind, just join us in this exercise as we fill this planet with our light and love, filling every stone, every particle of dirt, every vacancy, every cave, every tunnel, every hill, every aspect of this planet is going to be bathed in this heavenly energy. And then just imagine this energy becoming more empowered, stronger, bolder, and we send it out into the atmosphere. The atmosphere is to this planet as our skin is to our body. It's a very important covering, and our job is just to love it. So just see the love that we are collectively going out in the heavens and then bubbling all around this planet. The weather patterns are how the earth finds her balance. Just as if your body gets sick or takes on a cootie, you may get a fever, you may throw up, you may get diarrhea. All those are very healthy, balancing things to get your body back into a state of homeostasis. Well, the same thing with the earth. The earth is a living being, and the way she finds her balance is through the weather. So, if you will, just imagine all the weather patterns all around the planet and just fill them with love, whether they're big weather fronts or small ones. Just love them. And whenever the news is sending you news of an upcoming weather front, just love it. Just send it out. Now, how do you do that? Any way you want. You can see it, the energy pouring from your third eye or from your heart. You can see it bubbling up like a fog. It doesn't matter how you do it. It's the intention of doing it that's important. We're going to send love and light into the mass consciousness. The consciousness of this planet is how we're all bound together. Everyone who's ever been on this planet, whoever will be on this planet, has contributed, has influenced this mass consciousness. I would like you to do right now is just imagine it being like a fog that covers all humanity, all beings on this planet, and that we just send love out into it like a beautiful pink glistening fog that just permeates this planet. The mass consciousness is exceedingly important for influencing the collective mind and heart of man, of humanity. And we want to just fill it with love. Love is the binding agent that brings us all together. So just love the mass consciousness. Now, on this planet, we have lots of beings, lots of people and other creatures that are not necessarily wanting the earth to get along and build harmony. So they're intentionally altering, influencing, manipulating our weather, our atmosphere, our planet, the collective consciousness in all kinds of different ways. And what we want to do is just love those people, anyone and everyone who is doing anything to intentionally or unintentionally manipulate this planet and its people and influencing its divine destiny. We want to just love them, see them just surrounded with a little bubble of love. And we'll ask the angels to hold that love in place. The angels can do anything for you, they just can't do it without you. And that's why you came to this planet, to make a difference. So just love it and love all those on the planet, whether they have honorable intentions for the greater good or less than honorable intentions for a private agenda or their own self-interest. We just love them. And on this planet, there are a lot of influencers, whether it's on social media or the broadcast media or print media. We have lots of people who are indirectly or directly trying to impact the minds of man, especially in inducing fear. We just want to love them. Unconditional love is the great power that you have to make a difference. You don't intentionally try to alter or manipulate. That's karma inducing. You just want to send love. Unconditional love. You just send love. And all of the people who are in political office, love them. Love our past presidents. Love our current president. Love future presidents. Just especially love them. And if you can hear my dog bark, just please ignore it. And there are lots of creatures on this planet who also have a personal agenda to influence, to negatively impact this planet and its destiny. We're just going to love them as well. And because we have free will, because we have been bold enough and brave enough to come to this planet and take on a physical body, we have the right of way. So we can invite in all of our heavenly helpers to do everything they can to restore this world, our country, all countries, back to their state of divine perfection. And to restore this planet to its original intention. And we authorize and invite in all those who have an ability to help restore sovereignty and free will on this planet. That's the universal law of this planet. And if you pay attention, we've lost a lot of free will. So we're just going to ask our heavenly helpers to restore it. Expose what needs to be exposed. Do what needs to be done in order for us to live joyfully, harmoniously, lovingly, in a state of divine sovereignty. And if there's anything that we need to do, let us know. And give us the courage and assistance to be brave enough to act on our truth. And then we give permission to the angels to use our love and light in any way that serves this planet and its people. Any place where there's war, we love them. Anywhere where there's deception, we love them. Anywhere where there's bondage or slavery or human trafficking, we love them. Both those that are trafficked and those that are doing the trafficking. Love them. We love those who seek truth and who seek justice. And we love those who lie and deceive in order to protect the world from it. Our job is just to love them. And you have your own divine team that works with you, guiding and protecting you. So we're just going to keep quiet for a moment and give you an opportunity to hear whatever message you need to hear, to be open to receive, to allow your own divinity to be made apparent. So just imagine opening your heart to receive. And during this time, be willing to release anything and everything that doesn't serve you. Old thoughts, old patterns of behavior, old relationships. Just be willing to release that which no longer serves you. And as you breathe in, accept all that does. Breathe in empowerment. Breathe in love, joy, and trust, and clarity, and hope, and courage. And again, because universal law dictates that whatever you send out must come back to you. So just open yourself to receive all this love that you've been sending out. Just feel what it feels like to come back to you. Let every cell of your body expand to receive this love. Let this love balance, support every cell of your body. Let it restore your DNA to its rightful, original state. Anything and everything that's altered your DNA, altered your greatness, altered your divinity, altered your divine perfection. Let this love neutralize, balance, reset. Breathe in and breathe out. Let it be your intention to be your very best version of yourself. Not perfect in the human description, but perfect in the divine wonderment of humanity. You don't have to be perfect by human standards to be divinely perfect. Take a deep breath and anchor this energy. Every cell capture it. Be willing to release anything and everything that would lower your vibration, that would keep you from your divine, perfect state. And when you're ready, just come back to the here and now. Slowly open your eyes, sending the joy and gratitude into our planet for all that she does for our enjoyment and for our learning. So be it. If you have any comments or any experiences you want to share, you can put them in the chat box. If you're online, Stacy will share them with us. If you are on the Zoom call, you can record them or raise your hand or whatever you'd like. Just sit for a little minute in the soup of that energy. Anybody have any comments, Stacy?
Gosha said, "Happy Easter weekend, Cosmic Fan."
Yep. This is the time of the resurrection. This is the time we celebrate the new beginnings. This is when we recognize that life is everlasting. And that concludes our number 2 agenda item. And then number 3 is a Q&A, a conversation, anything that's happened that you have wonders about, anything that you want to share. This is the time for connecting. No masks required.
And speaking of that, that's changing a lot all over the states, which I'm pretty proud. We have different states, and even the Wisconsin Supreme Court said that it is null and void, that it is unconstitutional. So
wonderful. I didn't hear that.
I think it's just great to get back to freedom of choice, appreciating the sovereignness of our own being to make our own decisions. So basically, someone said, actually, Juan Carlos said, I just want to share that I've been observing the thoughts that come to mind and also feeling everything that comes in to let it go. Any tips for this?
Well, I think that's a great empowering exercise that you're going through. I talk about it in my book, Perfect Power and Consciousness. Oh, Stacey's got the book.
Seeking the truth through the subconscious and superconscious mind.
Thank you, Stacey.
Welcome.
And in that book, I talk about an exercise that I was given by Spirit to do, which was to go on a 24-hour verbal fast, not talk at all for 24 hours. And if I should slip and talk, that I have to start again with the 24 hours. It ended up taking me about a week to do the 24 hours of being quiet. And in that week, you're not writing notes and you're not doing hand gestures and you're not trying to communicate without words. You're really focused on inside, what's going on inside you as you're reacting to the world. And so that thoughts that I would think, I would be able to focus on. I didn't communicate. I told everybody ahead of time what I was doing so they didn't talk to me or try to get me to talk. I had several businesses at the time. I delegated who was to make decisions in my absence and went on about it. But it was amazing that the more I focused inwardly, I could begin to feel my thoughts and I could feel the energy that was expended with each one. I could feel the energy that other people wasted with random words and random things. I became much more aware of how we use our energy. Our energy is also our ability to manifest. And so when you're using your energy to, for excess language, for instance, and I do think women in general talk way too much, you literally don't have the energy to manifest intentionally. So you're either rambling with your creation or you're focused with your intention. But that week of silence really taught me a lot. And I could also then feel when other people were planting their thoughts in my head. So my thoughts, felt one way and other people's thoughts felt another way. And then divine thoughts, these inspirations or illuminations that I would receive, they felt very different as well. So it really taught me how to separate and feel the difference. And so I highly recommend that. I've had lots of people do it and, report back amazing results. But I think just setting the intention like you are to feel the difference of the thought, be very much focused with your energy is a great place to start. And then if you are in a life that gives you the ability to do a 24-hour verbal fast, I highly recommend it. It's very, very educational. And you realize how much of your thoughts are total garbage. And, you go, God, if I'm manifesting my thoughts, I'm in real trouble because most of us have not taken responsibility for our thoughts. And that's a very important first step as we begin to raise our vibration, which makes our creations come about much faster.
And I think with that, we actually had one of our calls. We talked about that yesterday too. And yes, and one of the suggestions I find is when you give yourself permission to feel, go into the observer mode as well. What is this teaching me? What is this showing me? Why is this showing up? Why would I choose this? How does this feel in my body? Do I want to keep it? do, just kind of start to get to know it too. And then you'll start to, I find our body is so much more brilliant than we have any concept or any clue. And so it's finding and understanding our own GPS system through emotions, through physical reactions in the body. Sometimes people get tinglings in certain parts of their head, and it's spirit communication coming in, or everyone's different. And so it's learning to take the time, I think, to get to know your body as well. And when you become the observer, you're not attached to the feeling. When we go through depression or we go through sadness, it's, I just lost my dog. And so I have bits of that coming through, but the more I give myself permission to just let it pass, to not hold on to the emotion, but to trust into it and to surrender into it and know that this is all the divine plan. And I think coming back into that trusting thing is part of it. Is like, this is not coming up by accident. And a lot of it, I do feel, especially the lower chakras, as we're moving into that channel, as you did in the beginning of our light, we have to have it a clear channel. And so if you're holding on to old traumas or you're attached to different things, it's like gets a little backed up. And so it's our time to really flush through energetically in our bodies, letting go of all that stuff. So if we do have things that come up, great, love it, be grateful for it and all the teachings that it's taught you, but you don't have to hold on. You don't have to let go. And I think that's really important to remember as we process. And then there's another question from Gosha. So the last 2 days I had massive anxiety. Feels like it came out of nowhere, and I leaned in and asked for guidance, and it was different 2 days, more intense than ever. And she said, I know we are also in massive DNA upgrades. And then also the listen twice, talk once. It's like we've given 2 ears, so we're supposed to listen twice as much as we are to talk. And I think smell, take a moment to breathe. So you do balance, right? The breathing really puts you in the present. I know mom's talked about too, the anxiety is in the future. Depression's usually in the past. And so I also have a lot of stress going in and out of my life. And I find I get that way too. And sometimes it's there and sometimes it isn't. And when it is there, I just kind of get back to the reality of this moment. Is this real in this moment? What's in this moment? And I go into gratitude. For me, oh, I'm so thankful for my bed. I'm so thankful for my pillow. I'm so thankful for, everything. And that helps me energetically. It's one of the fastest ways I can find myself processing. Mom, do you want to comment on the anxiety?
Yes, of course I do. Well, first of all, recognizing the anxiety is really important. You talked about my anxiety. I would not recommend that you own the anxiety. Your body or your mind is experiencing anxiety. You are this divine creature who's not experiencing anxiety. It's your mind that's doing that. And a mind out of control will often, like a child out of control, throw tantrums. If you're in the process of creating a mind mastery, then your mind is going to give you pushback. And one of the ways it can push back is through anxiety. Now, I would have to tap into your anxiety to give you a better diagnosis of where it's coming from. But that's one thing that happens, is the mind, undisciplined, will start creating anxiety as a way of distracting you. I don't want you to become this other person. I like the old person where the mind was in charge, and I don't want that to happen. So we'll do that, distract. Also, we're going through a very special time on the planet, and light workers are here for a special reason. And light workers will often connect with the anxiety of we talk about the collective consciousness. When there's a lot of fear, when there's a lot of anxiety in that collective consciousness, light workers, because they're open and because it's their job to tap into that energy, it may not even be part of your mind. It may be that you're draining off this anxiety from the collective. And that's a good thing. But what you want to do is learn how to dispose of it. It's like if you're recycling, you don't want to keep everything in your house that you're recycling. You become a hoarder. What you want to do is be able to recycle and pass it on. And so an easy visualization for that, when you're feeling that anxiety, and it'll show you whether it's coming from the collective or not, is just imagine it coming in you and then down through you, through your feet, and into the earth, deep into the earth. The earth is an automatic healer balancer. And so what you're going to do is just bring all of this anxiety and actually feel it, pursue it, the textures, the taste, the smells, the sensorial nature of the anxiety. How does it be working with you? And then just breathe it in and breathe it down through your body, through your feet into the earth, and then let it be something that is used for the earth to fertilize and bring about beauty and glory and all those kinds of things. And if the anxiety is not yours, but from the collective, that will give you a chance to do that. And really, you only need to do the exercise just maybe 3 times of bringing it in and out of the earth, maybe 5 minutes all total. And then, as Stacy said, moving into gratitude and thank you. And of course, you can ask the angels for help and all those other kinds of things as well. But that's also what's happening with a lot of light workers is they're pulling out of the collection in order to process it for the group. And the more we send and affect that collective consciousness, the more the earth is healed. So many even cancer victims who are experiencing cancer, it's pulling that anger out of cancer is always caused from anger. But many light workers are here volunteering to bring that anger out of the collective consciousness. And then instead of passing it on through, it gets hung up in their body, and then they experience the consequences of that anger. But you don't want to hold on to things. They're not yours. You aren't you. The real you cannot be angry, anxious, whatever. That's the earth experiences, but you are divine being that's formless. So you can't have a headache in a formless existence. It's the body that you've taken on. It's the mind that you've taken on. The body has its own consciousness. The mind has its own consciousness. You, in your divine form, has your own consciousness. You are learning to work in harmony and balance with your body, mind, and spirit. And just trust that if it's happening, there's a reason for it. Spend time asking yourself questions. It sounds like you're doing that. And then just trust that everything is in divine order.
Yes, I love that. And if we just remember, we're here to shift the planet. We're here to shift that energy. We're here to shift. So it doesn't matter if it's yours or if it's karmic or if it's it doesn't matter. All it is that you are here to shift it and alchemize it. And so if you just remember in that moment when you have that stuff come up, do you want to keep it? Usually the answer is no. What are you learning from it? So I like to get the lessons and then clear it. And you can do it visually. You can just do it owning it with words. You can just know that it's done. So there's all kinds of ways to transform it. There's no right or wrong. But if you even think of yourself as a wash machine, so you take in the anxiety or this negative stuff, and then you're just like, okay, I'm going to process it. I'm going to shift it. And now it's going to be this white sparkling love. And then you just transform it. So, and I agree that there's a lot of stuff that does come in from the collective. I can start to feel the difference. So I know collectively usually, or if it's mine, but it doesn't matter. And I think that's where becoming the observer is really helpful, because you're not attaching, you're not holding on to it. You're just in the presence of it. And there's no judgment. It's not good. It's not bad. It just is. But it's, do you want to choose to keep it? And that's the key. Do you choose to move through this? Do you choose to stay in it? Because everything in this life, everything comes down to your choice. Choose. Choose. Please. I choose sovereignty. I choose truth, right? I choose protection. I choose all that stuff. So anyways.
And you could at any time choose to choose again. It's easy breezy. And so just be at peace with what's going on and watch your words so that you're not owning something that you don't want to own, like my headache or my this or my that. You're actually then owning it and helping to create it. So you don't want to do that.
And that's a good idea. Do you go back to the body, going to witnessing instead of owning it? Oh, I have a head sensation, or I have this, or I've been feeling very intense things, and it's explaining it like you just said, without the attachment to it, without owning it. Because right now, everything you say, do ask yourself, do I want this to be my truth? Oh, I got this terrible headache. And then ask yourself, do I want this to be my truth? No. So, okay, earlier today I had this really intense head sensations, and now I'm moving through it. Or it is so important as we go into the next phase. As Mom said, get your thoughts cleared. Luckily, I've had her as my coach my entire life, getting those thoughts and words perfected, because the time is coming where they're coming into reality. It's the gift of ascension, higher dimension. You're looking at me funny. I have a lot of energy right at this moment.
Okay.
Also,
well, before you go to that, let's give people on the call, even on Zoom, if there are any questions or comments that you guys have.
And you're welcome to unmute.
It looks like that there's nobody pressing, so go ahead. What else is out there?
I feel your words, Mama. All came to mind. And yes, the disposing of it was difficult, but felt like I was losing grip. And so she said, thank you. And then Juan Carlos said, we're witness to feelings. And then again,
before you go on, felt like you're losing grip. Whenever you have a sensation like that has a very visual, I'm losing grip. Usually you're hanging on to a rope, the last of it. Just create a visual that flips it over. If you feel like you're hanging on by a thread, then imagine the angels coming and putting you in a safety net. Create a visual that counters that experience that you're having. Your mind, your ability to imagine is the most powerful force that you have. And so when you get up in the morning, imagine that there's an army of angels out there protecting and clearing the way and preparing your day. Create imaginary experiences that align. Imagine that every day you're bombarded with wealth and riches. Don't let the visuals that you create from bad past habits, like I'm hanging on by a thread, to be what you live. You have that power to create. Use it. And we are told that we're made in the image of God. I do not believe that we look like God. I do not believe that God even has a look. We are made in the image of God, image being the base word of imagination. We are created in the creative thought of the divine. And thus we have the ability, because we are part of that God, to create in the creative thought. So the more you can set your mind free to create all kinds of fun stuff, the more you'll live all kinds of fun stuff. But if you envision your life being torn asunder and everything falling apart, and think about all those cliches that we use, none of them are very pleasant. So don't use them. Just make up a whole nother set. Make up what you want. And know that as soon as you create that visual, as soon as you create that new image, that the universe rearranges itself in order to support you in that new vision. So put them to work. It's their job. I once got a thank you note from the angels because they said that I had put a lot of them to work through my talks and stuff, that people were asking for a lot more help and support. And that's their job. Unless you ask, they can do nothing. So ask them for help. It's free. Virtual assistance is at your disposal 24/7, and you don't have to pay them. Just throw them some gratitude, and they're great. It's all you have to do is just show a little gratitude. So do it. Now go on to the next one.
Well, I'd also on that too is, yes, the creativeness is everything. And remember, it is said in the Tantra that is through our sacral chakra. And that is part of our connection to the divine is through that. So what someone also commented, Jake said he loves my energy. And I'm like, thanks. I bug a lot of people, but I can't. It's just, it happens. Mom even mentions to me, like, I just light up. It's like, it's just who I am. It's who I've always been, but it's genuine to me. Like, I can't, it's just me. It's my essence, and I get excited about these things. And I think going back to being the creative and your passion too is what enlightens you, what makes you feel alive, what makes you, because that is usually what you're supposed to be doing. And so I think it's real important to, again, part of that emotional body is our intelligence system. And so if you find that things are giving you energy, things are exciting you, like that, pursue that, follow that, find your joy, find your bliss. And that sacral chakra is really coming alive right now because we have to let go of all that, the traumas that have been stored there, the repression, there's all kinds of things. And again, you don't have to go through the garbage. If you've already had the intentions to let it go, if things come up, great. It's the time to release it. Cut it free with love. We have what I call the easy button right now. And that what might have taken years in therapy now has an easy button. We're in a high dimensional frequency. We could just push the done. All right, we're done. Clear it. We're out. It's literally magic creation time. So find that. And again, if you're in that orgasmic state, that's your gift of reminding you who you truly are. So what is your turn on? What is your passion? What comes alive? And they say like yoga is an aspect of Tantra, and it really means the divine with the God, or the divine of the one within you. And so it's not necessarily a practice with other people, but it's in you. It's your connection button. It's fantastic. Tap in, tune in, and turn on your channel. Okay. Someone, Mafioso, sorry, I haven't said that in a minute, is here and says hello. And then creating art by observing makes me feel like that. And it's authentic. And yes, that's true. And so I used to also, I went through a phase, because this is kind of me as a child. I've always been, and I've had people in my life, relationships that have pushed it down, and then I started kind of not being me, and that it just feels like you're escaping from you. It's like you're not even in your own body anymore. And so I have to also trust that this is who I am. And sometimes it might, I've had people like, can you turn it down a notch? I'm like, I don't know how to just be me. Like, maybe give yourself some more permission to be expressive. I don't know, but I feel like I'm being me in the best way possible. And it's love. It's not like I'm angry. It's love and joy. And I'm sorry if the love and joy offends you. Like, maybe you want to look at that yourself, but it's just, again, we're mirrors for each other. And so if you're in your authentic self and you're triggering, it doesn't mean you have to take offense to it. It just means love and light. And maybe I'm just an opportunity for you to mirror. What are you upset about? I'm too much joy, too much laughter. Like, okay, then maybe you should give yourself permission to have more joy and laughter. So anyways, so ask for help. Okay. And then gratitude all the way. And so it's amazing that you're bringing up gratitude, because I've been looking for a gratitude journal. Wow, how things come full circle, and goosebumps.
Recognize that you don't need a gratitude journal. Gratitude doesn't have to be written down to be authentic. You can be grateful while you're driving in your car, with every stoplight stop or stop sign. Share what you're grateful for. That we set up these parameters for ourselves, that I have to have a gratitude journal in order to be grateful or to do it right. Know that it's a state of the heart. It has nothing to do with a journal or the right journal. There's a no wrong journal. You get a scrap of paper, a post-it note. All those things can be just as effective recording them, if recording them is necessary. But just be grateful. And you can challenge yourself throughout your day. How many times you go to the bathroom? While you're in the bathroom, how many things can you be grateful for? And remember what to be grateful for, including the ability to let go of that which doesn't serve you. So don't look for almost excuses not to be grateful till you get the right journal. It's not the way it works.
Well, and I actually like that Jake said, I find appreciation is a better word to use than gratitude. And I definitely have gone through that too, because some people say if you're gratitude, it means you're actually putting a judgment over something other than the other kind of thing. It's like a non-energetic
See,
judgment, good or
I
bad.
don't see them the same at all. I in college I had to take music appreciation and art appreciation, and appreciation says that you're aware of it, you can appreciate the finer notes, but that's not the same as gratitude. I mean, if you've ever been, near death and someone has saved your life or pulled you from a burning fire, that's gratitude. And that's, really, I'm grateful. I don't appreciate what they did. I'm grateful for what they did. So gratitude and appreciation to me are maybe on the same continuum, but very different places. And living in the state of gratitude is very important. One of the most grateful men I know came to visit me yesterday, and he's always being grateful and always sharing his bounty, and I mean just the way he lives. But he showed me his brand new 2021 Corvette that he just bought and paid cash for, and he was very grateful that he was able to do it. And I think it's that gratitude that's almost an attractive force, not appreciation. I can appreciate a cupcake or a fine wine, but that's not the same as grateful. Grateful is a deep, passionate experience. And so if you don't remember what that energy of deep gratitude, not just a superficial, oh, thanks for this, but really someone who was there for you when you needed it, or something that happened just when you were going to lose your house and you got this check in the mail for something, or whatever it is, just when you really felt that gratitude, that's the level of gratitude you need to have. And when you can live in that gratitude, you attract more of that to you. So again, do it freely.
Well, and I think to this is a perfect example too, is that my truth is we are higher dimensional beings, and in this third dimensional we use words, but really everything is energy. And so everyone has a different definition of different words too. And so I think it's also important to go with the energy of what you're wanting to create. And if a word, like we talk about triggers, well, mom doesn't like that word, we use more buttons, or mirroring. There's different terms you can use, but again, what is the energy that you're really encompassing? Because sometimes I think that words, in my opinion, will be going away as we get into the more of the higher energy communication, because as you know, we're already doing so much psychic connection, so many more different levels and planes, that you don't necessarily have to have the attachment to a word. You use what's good for you. But there's certain words energetically that are designed to keep you in lower vibrations, like the word try. So I think it's a kind of a fun little example of what is the energy really that you're wanting to do. But yes.
Words have power to create. So you want to choose words carefully, and you want to make sure that they do express what you want to express. So we haven't fully explored the power of a word and the word's power to manifest our lives. So it's really important that you be respectful of the words you use.
So there's 2 comments and then a question. So
we'll do them one at a time.
Okay. Mafioso said, you can't be on the same plane with the divine intelligence that puts you in the physical realm, puts you in this physical realm. And then a cell cannot be on the same level as the whole organism it serves and belongs to. So what I'm getting visually from that is it talking about our soul, the God essence, but we're a trickle of it. We're a piece of that connection to source is what I'm seeing. Cannot be on the same level as the whole organism it serves and belongs to.
Well, to me, that's his truth. It wouldn't be my truth. I mean, and everybody's entitled to their truth. And the more you speak your truth, the more you get to examine and look at it. But that's not my truth. Most humans are not living to their full potential. Therefore, they're not vibrating at the divine level, which is why we left a part of ourselves. And I see it sort of like a satellite, is the higher self is sort of a connection. We're always connected to our higher self. Our higher self is always connected to divine. So in that sense, we're always connected to the divine through an aspect of ourselves. As we increase our vibration, we get to the point where we reunify with the higher self. So then we are connected to the divine directly. And I think we can be connected. We just have to work at raising our vibration so that our physical structure can carry that vibration. Our soul is always at that vibration, but in order to manifest that in the physical world, we have to get the body clarified and unified and get rid of the pockets of low vibration so that we can carry that higher vibration. But to me, that's our goal. That is the ascension. It is the raising of our vibration so that we're again one with all that is. And all that is another name for the divine. But when we move into that unity, that oneness, that's what we are. But everybody gets to have their own thoughts and examine them and decide for themselves.
Juan Carlos asks, what if you use the energy of what you understand with love to say every other word? I don't really understand the question, to be honest.
First of all, I love his name. That just sounds like a movie star, Juan Pablo. So your name has such a very powerful energy. So with that, I got lost when you said his name because I went off on the energy. So repeat his comment again.
Well, it's a question. What if you use the energy of what you understand with love to say every other word?
Well, first of all, I think you'd have to be a schizophrenic to do that. When you're speaking with love, when you're putting love into your words, you're coming from your heart. And everyone can have that intention to come from their heart and really project that love into everything they say and do. It will soften, it will change every conversation you have. And as people listen to you as you come from your heart, and it's an intention, they will also respond in kind, or they will leave because they can't. You can't have a head conversation with someone who's coming from their heart. And I do recommend that you record it. Say a sentence, whatever sentence you want, and then say it again, intentionally coming from the heart. And what I do is just imagine bringing it, what I was going to say, down from my mind into my heart, and then I say it from my heart, and it will sound so very different. So if you were to do every other word, you'd have to say something from your heart and then click it back up to your mind and say it from your mind and then come back to your heart and click it. I think it'd make you crazy. I don't think it's possible, but it is possible to change every relationship you have if you take a few seconds, say less, and have all of it come from the heart. So you take a minute to really clarify what you want to say and why you want to say it, and then come from your heart. And we've heard Stacy talk, and she's been doing what I call chaining, where you say this and that reminds you of this, you add this, then you add this, and you add this. So she's chained 3 or 4 different content into one unit. But she didn't take the time to come from her heart. She's coming from her mind. And you can feel the difference. So now, Stacy, whatever the next comments are, I want you to just take a breath and bring that down into your heart and speak from your heart. And you'll find you speak less and it carries a completely different vibration. So I'd suggest that you do that one and don't try to, every other word. Just if you make it come from your heart, your world will appreciate it.
Well, I think it's interesting, like Mafioso's comment. you can know truth only once you leave the physical realm and become one with the divine again. And so to me, I would define that as like that Akashic truth of all that is. Truth to me, this is again the definition of words, is an energy. And if you look at on honest energy or lying, right? So truth or lying, it has two different vibrational frequencies. And I think what we're really learning how to do now in this current climate is to find truth, is to find the energetic vibrational match of what is true to you. And even in this conversation, like we have a little different opinions on different things, that there is a truth of all existence, of all of everything, Akashic records, the things. So there's definitely a level of that. But in this body, when I say like to know truth, I pray to know truth, as we always start the calls of knowing truth, is finding that frequency that resonates with you. And it's again, it's your GPS inside yourself. The body lets you know, and it's instant because it's an energetic frequency. Energy doesn't lie. Words do, people do, but energy doesn't. And so once we can tap into our cellular system of knowing our truth, that's
Stop, Stacy. Bring it down into come from your heart now. Just continue speaking, but come from your heart.
I am coming from my heart. So if you feel different, then that's fine. But I'm happy with it. Yes, and I think one with the Creator, I think we're just experiencing different parts through the Creator. We are all little Jesuses, little gods and godlets, as my mom calls them. There is no limit to my soul. Yeah. And so in soul and consciousness to me are, it's all, and welcome, Lisa. We're having a fun little play conversation. Do you feel that there's limits to people's souls?
Only if they believe there's limits to their souls. Your beliefs make your reality in this plane. It's the way we come to this earth. Our thoughts create our reality. So if you think your soul is limited, if you think you're disconnected from God, if you think these things are your truth, then they're your truth. If you think you have to wear 4 strands of garlic and 2 strands of obsidian and carry a crystal in your pocket and turn around 14 times before you clear the crystal, then you do, because that's your belief system. So it's why you need to get really clear on what's your belief system and does it serve you.
And I think right now that belief system too is we've been so programmed.
It doesn't matter where it came from. It's a choice. If you're over 13, it's your choice what your beliefs are, not your parents and not past lives. It's what you choose to believe. And if you choose at any point to get clear and get rid of false beliefs and false thoughts and stuff and things, you can. It's a choice.
I'm not a human being, have a spiritual experience. I'm a spiritual being having a human experience. And I definitely agree with that. I'm a being having a human experience, is how I would say it. And I think for some reason that brings me back to Earth. I get visuals. And to me, as Earth is a higher dimensional, it's why we feel so different when we're grounded. It's why we feel so different when we're connected and in nature, because that frequency is a higher, it's who we are. So it's why it resonates with us. It's why there's so many health benefits to being with fresh air and the trees and the ocean. There's so much magic that comes out of her. Pretty special. Okay, Mom. Go ahead.
You're doing fine. Anybody have anything they want to share or comment on? This isn't meant to be a monologue. Anybody have anything they want to share?
Josie, you're muted if you're trying to say something.
Elle, how about you? Anything you want to comment on?
No, not right now.
Okay.
We got a yes.
Anything else in our online gallery?
Well, it takes a minute because of the delay. So I have no other questions at the moment, but just says, wow, thank you a lot. Makes completely sense.
And talking about that unity of God, again, that's our natural state. We separated ourselves, and at any time we can plug back in. I tell the story because I like the story, but I've always felt that I was with God. I mean, it wasn't like God was in a heaven or God was something. I was just with God, and it was my constant companion. When I was in second grade, on the first day of second grade, I had a teacher. I had a teacher who yelled all the time. And as a child, I would pass out if someone yelled at me. I do not like loud, abrasive noises. And so I remember sitting in that classroom going, in my head, God, we've got to do something. There's no way I can stay here. We've got to do something. And giving this problem to God and knowing with complete trust that God would fix it. Went home that night, didn't say to my parents, got up the next day knowing exactly what I needed to do, which was walk down the street to a different bus stop, caught a different bus, and went to a different school. Now, as a second day of second grade, I didn't know about bus stops and school boundaries and stuff. I just knew that God was guiding me to go to this other bus stop. I got off the bus at the new school and I went to the first adult I saw and said, I'm supposed to be here. And in my head, it's like God sent me. There's no way you're going to stop me. I'm supposed to be here. So they sent for my records. And for the rest of the year, I went to one school and my sister went to another. When I went home that night, I told my mother what I'd done. And she said, well, I guess if you're going to school, it's okay. And so that's the way the problem was fixed. I've always traveled with that sort of companionship with the divine. I know God's thoughts. I know what I need to know when I need to know it, and I trust those inner whisperings that I get. And I, recommend. And I've been playing with this for 30 years now too. It's not like, my spiritual evolution continued, even though I was, always one with God. It's a choice. It's a choice. And if you believe you can, you can, and you will. Josie, I'd like to be able to read all your notes. I see, I see you taking notes all the time. It's like, whoa.
So there's a question from Juan Carlos. Can some people or things you used to do in the past that cause harm without being aware and reconnect with them from awareness have a different result now?
Yes. And you can also go into your consciousness and you can change those experiences. John Bradshaw was the first one that talked about going back and healing our inner child. But what that was going back in and undoing some of the damage that was done in those early years. So if you recognize that you have done something in the past that didn't serve others or didn't serve you, in your imagination, you can go back to those experiences because everything is now. There's no past, there's no present, there's no future. Everything is in the now. It's just in a different thread, if you will. And so go back to those experiences and apologize to those people in your head and then play it out differently. And then certainly you bring it forward in a different way, just like John Bradshaw taught us how to heal the inner child. And then we bring that more whole inner child to the current experiences, and then we interact with life differently. So yes, it's exceedingly possible and highly encouraged to do it. Then when you have interactions with those people in the now time, they won't be carrying the residue. As an example, I worked with a woman who was probably mid 40s. And she was one of my coaching clients at the time. And her father, who had been a minister, had shot and killed her mother when she was 21. And through her whole life, you know, she had carried the anger, she had carried the guilt. Had she been there, could she have changed the circumstances? The disappointment with the church, because he was this minister, he should have, done better. And so there was all these things going on. So I told her that, my belief is there's no accidents. I wanted her to do her homework that week, which was write out all the ways this experience had helped her grow, had changed her, how had been an asset to her, to look at the good side of that experience. And she was, first of all, had a hard time even thinking in terms of that, but she did the assignment. And one of the things that she said, I remember she was a reporter, and she said that it taught her that there's always more to the story, and that she can go and look at the ramifications of a story and not just the details of a story when she writes her pieces. And so she found other things that were just as positive. And so then after that, we sat down and literally I said, I want you to write a letter to your father, forgiving him, letting him know that you now understand and you're ready to not carry the guilt for this. And then after you write the letter, just burn it. You don't have to give it to him. You don't need to share it with him. She hadn't talked to him since she had seen him in court when she was 21. So she had never had any other contact with her father, and didn't know anything about him at that point in time. But she wrote a letter and burned it. And Native Americans believe the smoke carry your message to the spirits. And I also believe that burning things is a great way to get your message to spirit and releasing it. So anyway, she did that assignment, and she said within a few days of doing that letter, her father called her and wanted to meet her. And she met him in a restaurant, and she had the chance to say all the things that she had said, how she had carried the guilt, and how, all the different ways it impacted her, and to put the responsibility back in his shoulders. And she said it was amazing. For the first time, she saw that he was just a scared old man, that he was so afraid of being alone that he had taken this drastic action. And she had been able to forgive him. And so for the last 6 years of his life, she had a relationship with him. And then he passed away. So you may not recognize when you send a message to the higher self of someone, you can work things out at levels that you don't understand. You just have to do it. You can release karmic debt etherically through your consciousness. You can send messages. You don't ever do it to control and manipulate. Again, anytime you try to control and manipulate someone else's free will, it comes with a huge karmic kick. So you don't want to do that, but just to share your side, to communicate, to share love is always safe. But yes, you can do that.
So, question on patterns. Are patterns defined as patterns because you identified too much with it? So I'd also ask you, what is your definition of pattern?
Well, again, I think if we looked in the dictionary what pattern means, there's probably at least four or five different definitions. When we look at it from a spiritual stance, I would see a pattern as a behavior that overplays itself, that you see that coming up either in how you react or how you feel, or the situation coming up over and over again for you to experience. And I think patterns came up. One, they come up to give us the opportunity of continuing the lesson. So we can get, the first time through, we can get the lesson at one level, then we get it again, and we get it at another level, and we get it again, we get another level. And then even though the situation is the same, how we're responding to it differs as we continue to grow. If we see ourselves reacting to it in the same way, then that's an indication you're not growing, that you're just doing the same thing, which is not terribly productive. And we also, Tiger Woods is a famous golfer. You can be sure that man has hit more golf balls than anybody else, than most of the rest of the world. And you can be sure that he's missed more balls than anyone else in the world. Are you hearing that, Stacy?
Is there sounds that you're hearing?
Oh, yeah. Like a grovelly monster. Okay. Anyway, so if I'm meant to help someone with X, I will have gone through a lot more of that. I was told that there are many of the highest beings on the planet who are here, who are currently addicted to drugs or homeless or whatever. And they're here to be able to help the world break free of their addictions, but they have to first go through the addictions. The homeless, some of the great beings on our planet are the homeless, and they're showing us that nobody's home until we're all home. And so we can go through patterns because I'm going to be a teacher of that. I'm going to be sharing my message with that and helping other people grow. Or we can go through it because it's a big lesson that we need to learn. Maybe we screwed up really big in other existences, and now we're here to master that lesson. There's lots of different reasons for it. And don't get hung up with it. Just with each time, it's like, ooh, do your best. Do your best. And continue to grow.
What? And Esme got on here and she talked about how our body's hurting and different things. And so Esme, I do recommend watching the beginning of that because we did talk about our words and stating it a little bit more for your benefit. And then also Mafioso's talking about there's a radical transition and plus the full moon. There's a lot of energy on the planet that we're getting to do our part in. And yes, the full moon, as we talked about, April being a big month of transition.
On the if we looked at ocean currents, we would say there's the water here, but we know there are currents in underneath that surface level where things are going in different directions. So we can have a current that goes this way or goes that way, that the currents go in different directions. I've been blessed to be able to do a hot air balloon over the Valley of the Kings in Egypt. And the way they get the balloons to move is they really know the currents and the level of air, and they just take and get the balloon to the right level current, and then the current takes them to the left or to the right. It takes them to south or takes them north or east, but depending on which direction that current is going in. And that's sort of what's going on the planet right now. We're used to this surface level, but as you become more spiritually attuned, you're also simultaneously tuning into these other levels of activity, these other current levels of energy. And so you're feeling all of these distractions and these opportunities to move in different directions. And it is a testament to your growth, except we have to learn to integrate it, and that's the new part. We were used to living at one level, but as we become a multi-dimensional being, we literally are functioning at lots of different levels simultaneously.
Josie put in there, this is just the beginning of our work.
Amen.
It
doesn't have to be work. we can make it our joy. We can make it our playground. You know, the fun thing about Earth and why people come to this Earth is that you get to put on this cumbersome suit called the body, and then you get to create every thought you have and figure out how to deal with it. That becomes the joy of it, trying to strategize and think beyond and create and recognize the game and move beyond it. And we've just gotten stuck in it and think, oh, this is real. It's no more real than if you put those big bubbles of those plastic bubbles you put on that makes you like a ball, and then you bounce into other people and they knock you back. And we put those on for fun, and we get knocked all around for fun. And that's sort of what we do on Earth. We're supposed to be having fun. This is our Disneyland. It is where the most advanced souls come. You never come to Earth as a newbie. It's a very high honor to come to Earth. You never come here as a punishment. And the physical body that makes everything more dense is also the great gift of the planet. Just like those plastic balls that people get on and roll and bounce. And now they have ones that you go in the water with. I don't think I'd like to be in a big ocean with a ball around that I have no control. But nonetheless, it's for fun. So have fun with it. We're just beginning our fun. And the more you figure out the end game, the more you control the process that you're in. And you can truly be, from your heart level, grateful and joyful that you're playing this incredible game. Look, I have to pass boardwalk and pay a fine. Oh, look, I have to go to jail. Look, I got this, and think about those games that we play for fun. This is like the game of life for real. It's just for fun. Anything else in there?
I asked Juan Carlos, where is he tuning in from? And it changed it to says, where are you running from? So I just want to let him know I'm not asking where you're running from. Oops, it was typo. So I was curious to see. It doesn't feel like it's the United States, but I could be wrong. So I'd like to just know where it's coming
from.
Got
a lovely name, Juan Carlo.
And DMSO, Mafioso was talking about. I didn't realize DMSO came in drops. I have it in like a gel form, and I use it.
What are you talking about? I missed some.
In the comments. Esme was talking about her body was sore, but she got a new bike or machine, basically not a treadmill, but I'm pretty sure it was anyway, she got a physical equipment, so that's why her body's sore. He suggested putting drops of DMSO, and it really helps your body feel like you just took a 4-hour nap. I have a DMSO gel that I like to use when I'm using colloidal silver, but I never knew it came in drops. And by the way, it was a typo. It's not running from, it's where are you tuning in from? So that was my question. Where are you tuning in from? And it's dimethyl sulfide. It's a completely natural substance with amazing healing properties. And so the DMSO, from I understand, it comes from a tree bark. But when I use it, from my understanding, is it helps you absorb things into your skin much faster. So if you're putting colloidal silver, it's like it just allows it to be whoop, come in real quick. But I've never heard it in the other form, so that's kind of fun. So he is in Mexico. There you go. So we got 4 different countries on our chat.
So U.S.?
So yeah, U.S., Mexico, Nova Scotia, and Slovenia. So, yes.
We're changing the world. We're putting a little ripple of energy out there that just is going to continue to bubble around the earth and fill everyone with joy and love.
Yes. And we got a comment in here about how she loves our soul family.
I'm so glad you're part of it.
And it's ripples of love, like with the guitar. Woo!
Well, music is one of the most powerful ways of altering the Earth's energy. So the right kind of music. Now, we're not talking heavy metal here. But if you're drawn to music, it is a very powerful way of changing the energy. And just if you put on like quiet music or the nature sounds or whatever, you can feel it shift the energy of a room very quickly. Any vibration that you use intentionally is life altering.
I don't know about you, but I'm feeling like April's going to be I don't know if it's like quick stand, but it's like being able to stand in your truth. If you don't know how to stand in your truth, you start like getting sucked in. That the key to this month is really to stand in your sovereignty, to stand in speaking your truth and keep shedding light. I feel like it's going to be challenged in so many ways, but the truth's starting to, I think, peek its head out a lot more. What do you feel about that?
Well, what I recommend is to always be asking the divine will be done. That if you're not sure of what you need to do in that moment, call on divine will. We're all here as players in the divine game. And so it isn't just about what we're doing, we're co-creating this experience. So just be in your truth. I haven't looked at the energies of this month. It's just come way too fast. And so I know this is April Fool's Day, but I have not looked at April, so I don't want to comment without some soulful, mindful reflections. But I know that everybody needs to be aware and very conscious of the decisions they're making, the words they're speaking, the actions they're taking, because as we continue this journey, you will be manifesting that much faster.
Yeah.
And so,
yeah, go ahead. And hi, Jessica, who just got on. What's up, Miss Queen? One, Gosha said she's also been hearing this, apparently. So apparently it's, I don't know. You want to tap in for the collective, Mom?
no.
Okay. I definitely feel a lot of intense energy right now, for sure. I feel like I'm being zapped, like.
Yeah, it's an intention. Just allow it to pass through you. And this is just going to keep expanding. Like Josie said, this is the beginning. It's going to become more and more and more and more intense. And you'd be at peace with it. It's not about resisting it. Resistance is where pain comes from, physically, emotionally, and every other way. So you don't want to resist it. You want to just move into it. But I recognize it and deal with it and feel it. Extremely important. But
This is a fun question. You ready for the question, or are you still talking? I heard a pause, so that's why I said something. Okay. So how can one tap into the collective, question, and then raise awareness of it, question mark?
First of all, you are not ever unplugged from the collective. You're always plugged in. How you raise it is through your intention, words, thoughts, actions, beliefs, energy. So when we are doing our light experience in the beginning, we always send love and light into the collective. That's the easiest way. Just keep, and I see it like billows of pink fog that surrounds the planet and humanity. It's that unifying force. The vibration of love is the glue that holds us together. And that we just put love in. We infuse it with love, just like I could put food coloring in a glass of water and I changed the nature of that water, the color of that water. I just do it intentionally. And it's very important. If you choose, just sit and tell the universe, tell the collective conscious that everything you've ever done and put into the collective, that if it was less than your best, that you're now intentionally just raising the vibration of it. That, through our actions, from the time you're 13 on, you're contributing to the collective consciousness. Well, if you put in hate and judgment and various things that are not very uplifting, then just imagine taking and erasing those and filling it with love and flipping those over like a pancake, that it can be a positive and raising the vibration. It's just how you choose to do it.
Yes. And I love too that when we do in the beginning of this, if you missed the beginning, feel free to watch it. Again, you can watch it on YouTube as well as the Instagram. And in the what I call the love meditation of sending out, and then we also started sending love into the collective consciousness. I visually see it as almost like the cloud. Like when someone has a thought, we see it as a little cloud in cartoons. So I see it as a collective cloud, and that all of us are putting into it. It's like a computer connected to the cloud as well. And that each of us adds our own thoughts, vibrations, energetic force into it. And so to intentionally send love to that collective consciousness, to me, the first time you started doing that, I was like, whoa, it felt like, thank you. It was like saying, I needed this. Thank you. And so again, if you can just go back to the simplicity, if we're here to be love and share love and experience love, the more love you send out, the more you can receive back. And to me, that's such a beautiful thing, just to intentionally send love to that collective consciousness, because we're all connected.
And I don't watch TV. I haven't had TV for at least 5 years. I'm not sure how long. But for those who do, and especially watching the news, you hear so much fear being taught. That's going into the collective. So what, because you are watching it or experiencing it, just imagine that every thought, every energy, every word they're sending out is surrounded with love. It's still theirs to put out into the collective, but you now have surrounded it with love and light, and then surround the beings who are putting it out with love and light. It is always safe to do unconditional love. You cannot manipulate that. The karmic consequences to that, but you can always surround with love. So when you hear important people speaking, whether you agree with them or not, surround it with love. I was told many, many, many years ago that the internet had become sentient and that I needed to make sure that my energy was in it. So I'm not, as you can tell by Stacy's doing all the connections and the internet and social media and all that stuff. I'm not real prone to that technological stuff, but I will go on to Facebook and stuff. And usually for about 5 minutes, I put some things out, surrounding it all with love. And I just see that this huge fireman hose of love going out through the Facebook. If you're using the phone, send out love through your phone. There's lots of ways of influencing the collective. You just have to be mindful of it, be in that conscious state so that you can be aware of how you can impact it, or impact anything that other people are putting into the collective, because we are being fed a diet of fear, of separation, of all the isms in the world. We don't have to accept that. We don't have to allow that to be the major ingredient in our collective consciousness right now.
I like that. So Esme put in, she has a visualization that we're all Care Bears sending beams of light and to others, and she said hers is pink in color. So I think that's kind of fun. She likes cartoons visuals as well. And then Juan said, yes, yesterday my father was watching some news and he got upset, but I laughed with love and it kind of eased out. It was incredible. I remember when woke people said, don't watch the news. And it's more of the intention you set on watching it. It's awesome. Thank you. And I would say, yes, I have also learned through just when I notice how I feel afterwards, how I feel during it. And the time I did turn the news on was during the election results, because I really wanted to see what was happening. And I could feel, for me, it felt like this gross, dark, trying to like twist out my soul to get into this like deep, and it was dark and sending it love. It was not fun, but it is how so much people are manipulated and programmed. And so again, it's seeing that, asking to know truth, asking for protection and guidance to know truth. It allows to me, also your team, to assist you and guide you and just kind of let things naturally happen. If you've been asking for questions and you stumble upon this, like, it's not by accident. Everything is divinely perfect when you're ready for it. It's all like, you know, if you want your teacher that, or what is it? When you're ready, your teacher will appear, or all of the magic that the puzzle pieces start coming together and creating. And yeah. So I just had someone come in my room and the house and this. So I have like lots of things happening. Yeah. And it is also the intention you set when watching it. And again, fear is that lower vibrational state. You're more controllable and manipulated. If you're in that love vibration, it's a higher energy. And so look to see, why are you in fear? What is causing this? Is this true? And find your own answers.
And in that example, that he could surround his father with love and light, as well as surrounding the TV with love and light, asking his father, are you listening for truth? You know, if you ask to know truth, you'll recognize it. And so asking questions are a very powerful way to help people become conscious of the experience rather than making statements or judgments. So
Here.
all right, it's 7:45. We've been playing for an hour and 45 minutes, and I think this is a good time to recognize that it's time to say good night. This is the time of new beginnings, and we've talked a lot about things that you can do differently. What I would recommend is when you get off the phone, set the intention for one or two things to do differently in your life in order to either generate more love or protect you from the lower vibrations, you know, however you want to phrase it. But set some intentions, do something different. If you just hear the words and you change no thoughts, no beliefs, no actions, then it really doesn't have that much ripple power. But if you do something different as a result of what you've heard or what you've experienced, then you have literally begun the process of changing the world. We come together every Thursday. You're welcome to send questions or comments to me through the week, and that we can do experiences with that, or I can answer your questions. My email is heather@heatherharder.com. And then on Sunday night, we talk about politics. And I realize Easter Sunday is Sunday, so we probably won't have a lot of people joining us this Sunday, but nonetheless, we just create the opportunity for people to express their experiences around the political world. And after all, that's why we're here. It's the politics that are determining what's happening in the planet. So you want to stay energetically involved in the political process. The number for our Zoom call on Sunday is 831-755-38434. And so every Sunday we do that Zoom, and every Thursday we do this Zoom. And then in between we do classes. And so you can either send your email address to me, and I'll make sure you're on our list to get notices of classes and other opportunities for experiencing. And then my job is to assist people find their own truth. I don't, care if you believe the way I believe, but if I've made you think just a little bit, then that's really my level of success. That's what I'm going for. I want you to find your own truth. And you can do that best when you explore all the sides, whether it's politically, as in Sunday, or here is just conscious living. So I'm glad that you took the time to join us. I certainly appreciate all the calls and questions and comments that were online. And we'll give Stacy a chance to share more of those if she'd like. And then I'm very grateful for the people that I get to look at while I'm doing the presentation, even though they've been kind of quiet tonight, because that way I don't feel like I'm talking to myself. It's very hard to sit and talk to yourself. So I'm grateful for the live people that I can see your face on, and would love to have all of you join me with your live face. So are there any other closing questions, Stacy, or?
No, we just have grateful and thank you and lots of hearts and loves and woohoos. Like I call it the praise, or like the yeah. I don't know what you call that. Thank you a lot to everyone. It's awesome to share this moment with you, and thank you for sharing. And as Jen, who's not on tonight, who's almost always on, is we got it together, baby. Do we ever? We got it together, baby. Do we ever? So you got it. So anyways, remember our little cheer.
And this is Easter, new beginnings. So this is a great time to set new beginnings, new goals for yourself, new intentions, new visual images for yourself. Remember, your imagination is your power.
Yes.
Live in light.
Loads of love and light. Thank you so much. Mwah.